Hello, my name is Delit, and I want to share my love of cross stitch with you tonight. I have some magazines to show you that have different building designs in them. So let's just go ahead and take a look. This first design is called Proud to Be on Duty, and it was designed by Julia Lucas. And I just want you to be able to see all the details. Here we have our Dalmatians on duty, an old-fashioned fire truck, our firehouse. It's a full coverage design, so it is a lot of work. She's put a lot of work into it and given it a lot of detail. So when it's all done, it will be really a beautiful piece if you choose to stitch this. So let's just look at it closer. So she has beautiful clouds, beautiful trees, a lot of detail even in the background. The bricks, the roof, the what she has here on the cobblestones or whatever. Really a lot of detail to make it beautiful, even the dogs, the doors, the windows, to give a lot of dimension to the car. There's the indentations in the car, the sign, the lighthouse, even the little bit of building that pokes off to the side. It's just really, really well done, and I love it. And she has designed probably half of the designs we're going to look at. So it comes from this issue of Just Cross Stitch, February 1999, the first cross stitch magazine I ever bought. Um, and here's the next design, also by Julia Lucas, called The Mill Pond. I think you can see it pretty good, but we'll zoom in just to make sure you get a good look at it. So even though it's a kind of a small design by comparison, and certainly not full coverage, she's given a lot of detail to it. So even though there is a barn in the background and a house over here, I'm including it because it has our mill. But there's actually another design for a mill in here that I'll be showing you. This is found in a different magazine called The Cross Stitcher. This is from February 2004. I really, that's my, I'm showing these two in the order that I like them, and that, I really like that. This is also Julia Lucas. It's another firehouse. It looks a lot like the first one. The first one has a lot more to it than this one, but this is still beautiful. Did you see even the beads for doorknobs, and then the beads on the bushes and flowers? Really cute. Um, and the reason it's maybe a little less to the design is it's part of a series, and so it matches with the other three designs to, like, you could frame them and put them all together in a on a wall, or in a room. Um, and so it can't be too unique. It has to kind of fit with the others. Again, just cross stitch. This is from 2010. So this one was September, October. My favorite from that series was the Firehouse. Oh, I'm going to put these over here. She also designed the others in the series. And so the one we're going to look at, this is all of them, but we're going to look at the post office because I have a larger picture for the other, the store and the library. But this is the largest picture I have for the post office. So we'll just do the best we can with this. A little blurrier, I think, but maybe you saw she still continues the beads for the flowers and the bushes, the beautiful, tall, elegant tree, all the detail on the windows and the roof, and really very nice. So again, this cross stitch 2010. This one is March, April. Now, I don't know if I like the library and the general store as much as some of the other designs I'm going to show you, but I wanted to show you all these that go together at the same time. So here's the library. Not to take anything away from the birds, I don't know if I mentioned the birds, or from the other designs that I'm showing you in this video. I love all of them, that's why they're here. Um, so that's the library, and that one is from July, August 2010. It's this cover, if you're looking in your stash of magazines. I hope you have one. You might not though, because you might have all your magazines online. Your online stash then. Here's the general store. I just love it. Those trees, they're so nice. I just love everything she does in her pattern. Okay, here we have another designer, different kind of building. This is more of like a scenic picture. This picture is a little more blurry, so there's not as much point in looking at it closely. But this is Bridget Cosma, who she painted an oil painting and then developed it into a cross stitch. And isn't it pretty to have this beautiful scene? It's just like a random building. I don't know if it's like a cabin or like a boathouse. It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't look quite fancy enough to be a cabin. But it could be a really rustic one, I guess. But because it didn't exactly look like a house, I decided to put it in here with all these. It's an old issue of Just Cross Stitch from 1990, October 1990. I must have gotten this either through eBay or at a thrift store or a yard sale. And this design that I'm going to show you next comes from a magazine I only have one of, which is called McCall's Cross Stitch Bazaar. They have a ton of designs in here, and it's from 1989. I don't know that it has a month. They might have only put out one in a given year. It's issue, oh, it doesn't even say which issue it is. Okay, anyhow, here we go. This is like a roadside stand, but it's like a building. where they sell the products that are locally grown. And there's so many cute details in here. The dog under the bench, the apples in a basket on a wagon, all the little signs, the lady, she's over here, inside selling. It's an apple stand apparently. Did you see the little lantern? The stone in the building, the smoke curling up. It's really cute. Okay. Oh, and the designer for that was Virginia Soskin. Here is a design from one of my British magazines. This is, there's little figures that you can set out, like just to look at in your house, called Lilliput Lane. And so they do these cute little cottages they have in England. This is in the magazine The World of Cross Stitching, and I don't know which year or month it is. They have issue numbers, issue 133. And this magazine, they still print this magazine, but this is from, you know, 15 years ago or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. This is the Ginger and Pickle Shop. And it didn't have a designer listed. It's very well done in every regard. It's beautiful. Lots to look at. We'll look at it closer. And they called these lilacs in the magazine what's hanging. I've never seen lilacs hang like that. I only know lilacs to grow in a bush, so maybe they grow like that. That made me think of wisteria, especially. I don't know, but anyhow, that surprised me. This is another British magazine, Mary Hickmot's New Stitches, and this one is number 208. It doesn't really say. I don't believe it says what year or month it is, but it's from like 13 years ago or something like that. I don't know. It's been a while. Um, so these are some British scenes. This doesn't have a building, it's just a field. But we have a windmill. I actually have another windmill design to show you. And a ruin, the only ruin besides Whitefish Bay, if you want to call that a ruin. A little bit dilapidated, but maybe not quite fancy or old enough to be called a ruin, or significant enough. So let's look at them closer. They are small designs. Well, kind of like our dilapidated building, this one is reflected in the water, which is cute. And this is set out in a field, also cute. And that, if you wanted to stitch a field, it's a nice little English field with, I think, a stone wall. But these are designed by Mary Hickmott, the lady who does the magazine. Okay, here is our other windmill design. Oh goodness, it's probably so crooked how I'm showing it to you because I can't see what I'm showing you. It's crooked in the picture, and I apologize for that. The windmill is nice. The tulips are even nicer. That's kind of more the focus of the picture than the windmill, but I am including it because of the windmill, and I actually really like the way they did the sky where you don't stitch everything. You just stitch some of it. I think it has a nice effect. This is Leslie Teare, Teare, kind of a popular English designer, and it's in cross-stitch gold. Again, this is an older magazine, but they might actually have, maybe they don't have the month and year. Oh, April 2008. See, that is about 15 years ago. Okay, oh, this one delighted me when I came across it. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I wouldn't necessarily cross stitch the whole thing for me. I just really like the design. But it's not actually supposed to be a house that you live in. So I'm including it here, even though if I were to stitch it, I might change what it says to something like, welcome, bless this house or something, which would turn it into a house. Um, but a lot of people do like coffee or know someone who likes coffee, and it really is cute. And I love the phrase that goes with it, as a coffee house. But if you're not American, you could still stitch it and take out the date, obviously. And you could just, instead of serving the official beverage of the colonies, serving the official beverage of wherever you live. It might not make as much sense, though, to say that. Yeah, you could put something else in there. I love the little coffee pot. And the border is really cute. Again, Just Cross Stitch Magazine. The designer on this is Diane Williams of Little House Needleworks. Oh, and they always use really fancy fabrics and everything. 28 count cocoa linen from R&R Reproductions, although they did just use DMC or Anchor Floss. This is from June 2004. Okay, I just have a couple more to show you. This is kind of unique. This is when you stitch a building and make it three-dimensional, and they've made a little village here. So if you were to get the other issues of this magazine, you could make a little village to set up at Christmas time. See how they have it next to the Christmas train? I have a nephew who loves trains, so you don't necessarily have to do it as a Christmas village. You could just have it for someone who likes to play with trains, or when I was little, we played with something we called Little People. That was their official name, and that's what we called it. This is from Classic Cross Stitch, and I only have one of these, a Needle Arts collection. Excuse me, I have had some hiccups today. This is April, May 1990, which was just volume 3, number 2. So I don't know how many of this magazine they ever made. And it was part of the Village series, Yesterday's Village. And you know what? It does say who the design is. Helen Rush, or Helene. Helene. Helene, Helen, Ellen. I don't know. There's a lot of possible ways to say that. We'll say Helene because of that lovely shampoo called Helene Curtis. It's kind of drilled into my head. And that says how old I am for all of you who have no idea what that shampoo is. Stitcher's World gives us the last one I'm going to show you. And let me just tell you, this is January 2006. A fabulous magazine, no longer in print. It had a lot of things, not a lot, but it did have things besides cross stitch. However, this is cross stitch. And they made an afghan, or as you see, you could make them into pillows or frame them like the other sort of collection that had different buildings. And they've done such a nice job here. You wouldn't stitch these all in one design because they're so big. But so we are going to look at even though they have all of the ones that are not supposed to be included, right? General store, church, house, farm, school. They have a mill, so we're going to look at the mill. And this is, I believe, Julia Lucas. Let me make sure. And then in the little squares that are not buildings, they have cross-stitched um, blue snowflakes that are so cute. Um, now why can't I just easily see? I know that I know. I'm sure that it is her because it's the way the other buildings looked. But let's make sure somewhere here where they say it. Um, wow. Oh yeah, right up top in great big letters, Julia Lucas. So anyway, I'm going to show you this though because it says the kind of fabric they used right up here. Tannenbaum Afghan, 18 count, 8 o'clock insets, antique white Swigert. And you can see they cut it pretty big. Cut um, 42 inches by 55 inches. And for a pillow, they did 14 inches by 14 inches. And here, let's look at our mill. I wish I had a better picture to show you. This is, I believe, all I can show you. It's nice. I liked the other mill better, but it's cute and it matches these other buildings. The house and the barn are really cute in this series. We'll go ahead and take a look at them. And why not look at the others? Did we see everything? The church, I think, was the last one. I don't know if you can see the snowflakes. Anyhow, if you could see them, see that they're very cute. Um, that's the last one. I did want to show one more thing to you, and was just waiting to make sure I wasn't too tired. Um, sometimes I do get tired when I'm making my videos. Um, so this is an update on something I've been stitching, and it's I started it back in March. It's a sampler, and it comes from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. And I apologize that I'm having such a hard time finding it in this magazine. Here it is. This is the sampler that I've been stitching. This was designed by Tracy Riffle, and it's the This Is the Day sampler. There's another This Is the Day sampler out there at the Council of Verse in the Bible that says, "This is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it." It says, "We will rejoice and be glad in it," but this sampler leaves out "we will." It's such a nice reminder, and I had such a lovely day yesterday cross stitching with my mother, um, who has her own project she's working on, and then I would, in between helping her with hers, work on mine. And so yesterday I added the number 5, these bee wings, a little pink flower. I had the rest of this already. Sorry if it's strange for me to peek my head around the side. It's just to make sure that you can see the important parts of the design, that it's not crooked or my finger's not in the way when I can't tell otherwise. Um, I am just going to fold it down and we'll take a look at the bottom in a minute. Here's the main part of the design. So when I stitched this before, I had the pink front of the house, the chimney, a little tiny bit of the trunk, and a little strip of green across. And now I've done more green, most of the trunk. I've added part of the roof and this over here. I'm gonna fold this so I can more easily show you. I've started the gold border around the house. I've started stitching many things like the little dog, the birds that need heads. This is the beginning of a box where you put the saying, remember thy creator, and then your initials and the date when you made it. I've started my alphabet and some borders. The peach that you see here is going to fill up the whole top, and the letters will be in this peach background. The border that you see over here, the golden brown like intersect with each other, interlock. And this is the sun with its rays. That's like a macaroni and cheese color. It's kind of a yellowish, orangish color. We have this vine that goes over here, and when the flowers face the border, two little stitches get cut off. And you'll see that when I show you the other side. Where you can see the two stitches, and it does look better with those. So I'm not sure why she decided to design it that way. This is one of the 3 lambs that I've started. You can see that I have most of the trunk, but I haven't done the branches, leaves, apples, and I'm really excited to get to that part. It's why I picked this design. Down here on the bottom, I had done more, but I made a counting error. I start in the middle with my design and work outward, which is why you see that I haven't just stitched one thing or started in a corner and gone across like some people. I do cross-country stitching. Here I've started the letter D. And the little flower. And the bee wings and the number 5. And then you have peach down here as well. So this vine goes down the sides and across the top, but not the bottom. The numbers go across the bottom with their peach background. Up here above the alphabet, you have below the alphabet, you have this brown border, very dark brown, and it goes across the top. You don't have that on the bottom. And then down here is where the phrase is. And they have a few little things in there, like a crown, I think, and a heart. And then there's like some green, like a green ripply thing that goes across next to the flower vase, which is right there. So I'm really excited. I wanted you to be able to see how the design lays out in the fabric and just kind of what it's going to look like on this brown with DMC floss. Let me point out a couple things that are different. My green is just green. Her green, because she uses her overdyed floss, which costs considerably more to buy. You can think of the price, 66 cents at Joann's for DMC floss, and there's 10 flosses. versus I think $4.25 for one. I don't know if it's a lot more floss, but anyhow, each skein of floss from these various different manufacturers of overdyed floss. She also used a special linen. Hers is this gold linen, 40 count, minus 32 count. Um, Anyhow, so she has this ripple effect. She stitched vertically. She gives specific instructions that you get that effect by stitching vertically. And then some of the other colors will have a kind of variation to it because of it being overdyed. You can see that there with the tree, with the peach. And it probably is true of all of the different ones, but it makes a bigger impact with certain colors than with others. Anyhow, I have really enjoyed making that and sharing it with you, and I can't wait to have a lot more to show you the next time I make a video with an update. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me. I would love to hear about projects you are stitching, if you've designed any yourself. When I was driving through the town the other day, I was just very inspired by all of the beautiful old houses here in the town I live in. Wouldn't that be great in a cross stitch to make your own, buildings from the town that you live in that nobody has created, instead of just a random store or house, like that house you drive past that you are like, wow, or that's so unique or pretty, or the tree that you see. I hope to be able to get around to doing that. I'm still working on a different design that haven't worked on much lately, but hope to finish or make progress on at least, and be able to show you that more. Anyhow, thanks for watching my video.